Welcome to Project Further. I'm April Ulmer. Project Further is a resource for the families of girls in youth soccer who have a desire to play soccer at the very highest of levels. I'm joined in the studio today, once again, by my amazing producer, Lo Ballard. And if you were able to catch the last episode of Project Further, you'll know that we discussed social media and how it can be implemented to help your daughter go further in the sport of soccer. At the end of that episode, we also talked briefly about how social media could possibly open some doors as far as opportunities for your daughter. So that's where we are.
All right. And guess what? There's been some recent developments.
There have been some developments.
Yes. And this is what you want to hear, not only on the show, but we want to also hear those things in your lives as well. So y'all can make sure y'all comment, message us. Simple plug right here.
Yeah. Let us know what's going on.
But we do have developments that have happened as of late. You want to start and tell us what's going on?
So of course, London, our youngest, our 13-year-old who has aspirations of playing soccer in college and professionally, has had some opportunities develop. So let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Okay?
Yes.
So
let's
backtrack. Let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
Like you said, you love the origin. So let's
love a
get
Genesis.
to the origin.
Come on.
right. Okay.
Come on.
So the way it all started was, we've talked briefly before about guest play opportunities and just crafting opportunities for her to further develop, to experience new things, to make her soccer world a little bit bigger because we live here in a small area, a small market. So one of the things that we do frequently is we guest play whenever possible. So there are different groups and things like that are out there that where you can either request a guest play or you can look for opportunities that people have posted and say, hey, we're available, da-da-da. So we were kind of trying to figure out this summer and what are all the things that we want her to try to do and things that she's expressed that she wants to do. Because, of course, in the off season, when you're trying to continue to develop and play at a highest level, you don't just take the summer off.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is counter to what we kind of always believed when we were playing rec or even select. You just kind of like, oh, we're off. What are we going to do for vacation? But you have to keep developing because kids who have those same aspirations are continuing to develop it, right? They're looking for opportunities. So one of the things is guest playing. So what I did was we have our social media account, and so we have videos, and we actually, have a camera system. So whenever she's playing or practicing or training, we can always get good quality video, and we edit it, and we kind of have it out there kind of at the ready.
Yeah.
So in one of these groups, so actually, a couple different groups, I posted, hey, I have a 2010, bipedal girl, plays with both feet. This is her level of play. She plays for a girls' academy team. We're looking for opportunities to guest play, high-level opportunities. She'll travel anywhere to play, this summer, et cetera, et cetera. And I posted a really, really short video of her playing. And from that, it just kind of, right. So we got some comments, from that, right, at the posting, hey, she should play for this team, she should play for us, she da-da-da. And so we kind of made some initial connections, and we checked out a couple teams, like a couple showcase teams and things like that. Okay, great, thanks, we'll definitely look into that. Because, you got to research everything, what's the level of play, where is it, will it work, timeline, But yeah, thanks for that. And then we started getting messages, like private messages from a few coaches saying, hey, we saw your daughter, we're really interested. We'd love to have her maybe guest play with our team. So that's how it started. We're playing in this showcase or, this tournament. And so I was like, okay, fantastic. And then we started getting messages from a couple of coaches. A couple said that, hey, I was sent your daughter's video from some parents who were in the group who said, you got to see this kid. Like, you got to look at this kid.
Yeah.
And so from there, that initiated a conversation with a couple of coaches, a couple from the Texas area, because, Texas soccer is big soccer, especially North Texas. Okay.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger. I mean, it's a huge market, lots of great talent. That's where a lot of people are looking to go or to play, or that's where, scouts are looking. It's just big soccer. Okay. Especially a lot bigger than our market. But when you look at all states, I mean, Texas is one of the main places, especially, Dallas area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So, we talked to those coaches, and we were really, really kind of interested in what they were saying, because even though we played for a GA team out of Louisiana, there's things called discovery players, to where you can actually remain a part of your organization, but sometimes just, make practices when you can in a different team, different market, different league, play for those teams, go to those games. And so we were like, well, that might be ideal. So let's kind of explore that. And in the meantime, we were also planning for the summer to go to Texas anyway and do some training with some of the higher level teams over there. So that's initially what got the ball rolling, as far as social media, having the video, putting it out there, and then suddenly getting contacted by coaches. So we got contacted by a couple coaches out of the Dallas area, and we talked to them several times. We got contacted about a team out of another city in Texas as well. It wasn't as feasible, so we talked to that coach. Ended up going to Dallas to do some training.
Okay.
And once again, trained. Those coaches were aware of her because of social media, because of the videos that kind of had been circulating. Trained with one team that was a little bit of a lower level when it comes to the pyramid that we had talked about previously with, FDL, ECNL, GA, that kind of thing. She showed great. I mean, just really, but immediately that coach, to their credit, said, "Hey, we'd love to have you on the team, but you might be a better fit for this higher bracket in our organization. But let me put you in touch with the coach, who is the coach of our ECRL team, okay, which is right below sort of ECNL, okay."
Gotcha.
But then at the same time, we also had a friend of ours who said, "Hey, she's in Dallas. Maybe she should go check out a couple of these other teams, a couple of these opportunities." So we did that. And so then those coaches kind of made a call and kind of got us in to visit an academy, a school, just to train. Once again, we were just there to train, because the plan, just kind of once again taking a little step back, is understanding that whenever you're developing, you always want your child to be challenged. You want it to be seeing the highest level of competition. Yes. And sometimes that means moving to a bigger market, right? Like we initially started out in South Mississippi. We realized she had to leave that team, go to a bigger market, which was Louisiana, Baton Rouge, GA. But once again, still relatively small market compared to Texas and St. Louis and all that. So our team wasn't the top team.
Give some time constructs with that.
Okay.
So initially started in Mississippi. Y'all worked the grounds here and the markets here for how long?
Oh, gosh. She started playing soccer when she was probably 5 here in Mississippi. Started with rec. As soon as she was old enough to do select, she did that. And left that team 3 seasons ago.
So
about 10. About 10.
So she was here roughly about 4.5, maybe.
Right. Something like that.
In her initial market.
Right. Initial market. 10, 11. Yeah. And then, we went to GA, right? Because this is their 3rd season of the Girls Academy, GA's Girls Academy team in Baton Rouge. Just starting the third season there. Yeah. So left there, went to GA, did 2 seasons there. We tried out for this next season, which is the 3rd season there. She made full-time. She got off to full-time position, which we talked about in one of the prior episodes as well. Full-time position. The plan was to let her stay there, of course, continue to develop, play higher level, because that is the highest level of play in our immediate area. 2 hours from where we live each way, but still the closest that we have, the highest level of play. And so once again, looking for opportunities to continue to develop in the off season, bigger market, because when you have a bigger market and you have a deeper pool of talent, you have more resources in terms of coaching, in terms of facility, in terms of infrastructure for soccer. We said, well, ultimately, we might end up having to leave even the Baton Rouge market to go to a bigger market like Texas soccer, very doable, but it was something that we were sort of starting to wrap our minds around, maybe have to do eventually, not immediately. So let's go over there and let's look at the landscape. Let's do some coaching. Let's, play with some teams. Let's see how she stacks up, figure out what things she might need to be working on individually, et cetera, come back to Mississippi, Louisiana, and do that work. That was the plan. That's why we went over there. And in the meantime, social media, putting it in the groups to say, what guest play opportunities can we have? Because we've also talked about before, we think it's valuable for a child to be placed in different scenarios, different coaching opportunities, hearing the voices of as many coaches as possible, learning how to play with different style teams and different girls and different personalities, right? That helps to make your player more well-rounded and teaches them composure and helps them become more coachable and just helps in all kinds of arenas. So that's why we did that. So now we're in Texas. So she's training, she's getting great looks, she's getting great feedback, right? In the meantime, we're still getting pings and emails from other coaches saying, hey, do you want to come and play with us or maybe train with us? And then another coach said, hey, what about this weekend? You could come and actually try out for our team. And this is an ECRL team. We said, well, she's not going to be there, but thanks, and we'll definitely keep you posted and let you know. And so meanwhile, we have all this swirling around, all these opportunities. And then she had the opportunity to go and train at an academy there, okay? An academy meaning a soccer school, basically, where it's academics and it's intensive soccer training, okay? So that was sort of a last-minute thing. So I called my husband. I said, hey, London has an invitation. If you guys are free tonight to come and train tonight at this facility with boys, okay, and just kind of, get a lay of the land, see what it's like. The director's going to meet you guys and show you guys around. So she did that. This is still in Dallas. Did that, went and trained with her age level boys there. The team showed well there, met the director. He did a tour, talked to my husband in London afterwards, and offered her a position at the academy. Okay, there in Dallas.
Whoa.
Okay. Whoa. Right. And this is in the span of a week. They were going to be in Dallas for a week. So this all happened starting from the weekend before they left to this is now probably Wednesday, Thursday.
Because this is such a multifaceted situation. One, I want to point out that coaches are reaching out based on consistency of content being presented. And if you missed last episode, do yourself a favor, go back and get those tips. You're posting skill sets, you're posting things that coaches want to see. And now we have it where coaches are reaching out with opportunities, clubs, all of these things. Now, as a mom, as a dad, this is moving quickly.
Very fast.
Was this moving faster than the timeline you had in your head?
Absolutely.
How long did you think y'all would be in the Baton Rouge market before
at least another year, another season. At least, because that's why we tried out for the team, and we had already committed. We said yes, we accept the full-time position. We started paying for the season. We're all in. We had ordered our kits. We're in. We're in Baton Rouge.
We're bought in.
We're bought in. That's it. That's our team.
But life is a tricky.
It is
pathway.
Yes, and this is happening. And keep in mind, this is a city. I'm a country girl. Right. This Dallas is a real city. Yes. Okay. So there's all that. Like, wait a minute. So he offered her a position in the academy for this season. Now this is June, July, right?
Yeah.
Late June, early July. School starts in August. Like what do you mean? Right?
Now look. Because I have to keep you
honest.
I have to keep you where I need you to be. We're focusing this episode on piggybacking from the use of social and now opportunities being presented based on the implementation of what we talked about, right? Because I can hear some of y'all mamas and daddies out there. Y'all just want to get to the results. Y'all want to
what did y'all do?
No. You don't skate through this.
That's another episode.
Yes,
it's the next episode.
There are steps, and this is what we want to make sure that we're not rushing through this process,
right?
Because I know, like I said, it can move fast at times. But there's things that we've kind of touched on, even with having new opportunities, the adjustments that you have to make, that London has to make, that the family has to make. And these are things that are happening in real, or as the kids say, IRL, in real life. Like, this is real. situations taking place. Before we get to like the process of on the other side of accepting this new announcement that we're going to make, I just want to keep it on this side of it where being in a position now where you are facing these new opportunities, like walk me through how, like, as a parent, you got to adjust. You just said the timeline is moving faster. You still have work. Y'all still have like regular family lifestyle.
Right.
And y'all are having to pivot because this is a real opportunity. Mentally, how are you handling all of this?
Right. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. And it's really called for a reality check for me, right? Because you can talk the talk, but the question is, are you willing to walk the walk?
Yeah.
Right. Because, here we focus on development. Everything that we do, it has been focused on opportunities for our child, trying to help create opportunities for other girls. Right. But then when the opportunity comes knocking, then what do you do?
Come on, somebody.
Right. And for me, and it's more my personality type, and I think some of it is medicine and having to, it's very structured. If this happens, you do this.
Yeah.
What's the treatment for that is very specific. You have to be very precise. So in my mind, I'm a planner. Like I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do for a year. This is what it's going to look like. This is my job. This is what my work is going to look like. And then when I get to the point where I can be more flexible, I'm going to work on that. And then by that time, London will be doing this, and then I can go there. It's very sort of in my mind.
Y'all listen.
It was very
not being cute. I
called you, I was
remember
like,
when
"No."
you called me. Because we gonna keep it transparent.
Right.
When you called me, you was like, that's my baby.
Right.
Like,
my mama heart was like, wait a minute, now what are y'all doing in Dallas?
It was a different situation because
yes.
I really want people to understand how quick this moved. It was just supposed to be like a
week.
Check it out.
Right. Right. For 5 days and go play practice with a bunch of different teams.
And then you'll come home. Like like we just going back to bed.
And then we're gonna have summer vacation.
Yeah.
We were out. We're gonna go do a little traveling. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Now she is true to the fact that she likes things to be like
you're trying to say I'm bossy. You're trying.
She does like things to be meticulously structured and ducks in a row.
Right, because that's how I maintain, control, and I navigate through that, right?
Well, Opportunity said, I don't care anything about that, and took the eraser and just
all of this.
All of that. We got a new situation, new plan. And now I want you to speak a little bit about this because this could have went number of ways, right?
Right.
You could have been hesitant and just been like unpliable and I don't want to be out of my comfort zone. We just made this commitment. My kid is sticking with that. But I think there's something about having tribe and just having people that can help you talk through.
Oh, absolutely. And we've talked about that too. We've talked about having people in your life.
Come on.
That can help you to navigate these situations. And you're right. Like I talked to you about it because, we have a dialogue and we're friends and we talk and I was like, this is not at all how this was supposed to go. Right?
Yeah.
So, bouncing things off you and sort of having you say things back to me that you've heard me say.
Yeah.
Like reminding me of, but you said
this is why we're here.
This is what you want, right? This is right. And then you're like, this is why we have been doing this.
Yeah.
All of the time, all of the expense, all of the, the commit, having to sort of rework sacrifice times when we could have been someplace else. This is what she says she wants. Now it's unfolding. So what are you going to do? Yeah. Reaching out to people. Even my mom, this is what I'm thinking, as a mom, like having people you can be like, as a mama, this is how I'm feeling. But then having them say, well, it seems to me like it's her season.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. And then realizing that it was time to sort of get outside of my own feelings and really try to look at this objectively, right?
Yeah.
And say, okay, I know this was our plan, but when I take a step back, take off my mama hat,
Come on.
and take a step back.
And we did that.
And we did that.
Because at first I was on that boat with you.
Right. Like,
I was
wait a minute,
Oh,
like-
Lord, this is moving faster.
Right.
Because, let's widen the spectrum. So we were in the infancy of Project Further. We were talking about, like, we had our strategy. We, oh yeah, Baton Rouge was, the focus. Y'all had got the content camera system, like all these things that were rolling out.
Right.
And opportunity comes, even with me producing your content, it expedited things quicker because now we have motion in ways that we don't know where this is leading to.
Right.
And now we had to rearrange things. We have to, hey, how soon can we get things implemented? And I'm saying all this because I want families to know that at any given moment, opportunity can present itself.
Right.
You never know who's going to connect with your kid, who's going to see them as the piece to the puzzle that they're
Right.
building, their team that they're building, who may come by and see them at a scout game. You don't know who he went to
Right.
school with,
Right.
that coach.
Right.
Like all of these things are just metrics that can shift at any time. And I'm gonna let you finish so we can tell the announcement, but I want you to stop at the announcement.
Okay, got it.
Because next pod, we're gonna talk about how everything else transpired after that.
Okay, got it.
But today is just the announcement.
Right.
Yes.
And so kind of going back to that, talking to having people.
Yeah.
So I told you what was happening in real time because, like I said, we're friends. You know my situation. Project Further, how it's affecting Project Further. So we talked about that. Talking to my mama friends, my personal mother, my friends who are parents, right?
Yeah.
Coach Q. I reached out to Coach Q, and I was like, Q, this is what we got. And I reached out to him not just because of obviously the situation with the academy, but because we were having coaches. We had several teams.
Yeah.
That had made her offers in Texas to join.
Yep.
And you had some that were higher level, but weren't the highest level, weren't ECNL, but they were higher. And so it was with one club, and maybe it wasn't the club that we necessarily were looking at, but it was high level.
Still an opportunity.
And it's still an opportunity. And then in the club that we were looking at, we hadn't kind of gotten there with them. So I'm bouncing it off him. Well, ultimately,
Yeah.
if we were to do this, which one should we think about? What should we do? And then, obviously, then the academy situation.
Right.
And kind of going back to stepping outside of my mama shoes and saying, okay, this is what we prayed for. This is what we've worked for. And then, once again, going to London. We always talk about being intentional. We talk about things being child-centered.
Yeah.
This would be a big undertaking if and when we ever decided to do this. London, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Like, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? Do you want to do it at all? Right? Because this is city. Like, you've never lived here. My kids grew up in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think? So having to sort of corral all the emotions and the questions and the doubt, and you always want to make the right decision at the right moment. But sometimes I think with fate and with God and with the situation, it forces you down a path that you're meant to take. Because it's funny, because even when it came to some of these opportunities, there was another team in Texas. Good friends of my husband's children play on that team.
Yeah.
And they were interested in London as well.
Wow.
Okay. Outside of Dallas. And we were supposed to have a call with that coach, but the coach was tied up, and that coach couldn't talk to us for like till the end of the week or whatever. And all this stuff is happening at the beginning of the week. And that was sort of where we were leaning if we were going to do anything.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that couldn't happen until days and days later. So prevented us from making that decision before these other things fell in line, which ultimately ended up being sort of our best option. Does that make sense?
It does.
So sometimes you just gotta you gotta take it and go with it and think about it in terms of, once again,
Process it.
Yeah. What has been the goal? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How does your child feel about it? And then make the best next step.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that sometimes I think it gets to be so much that we're looking at big picture, and sometimes we just have to, like, what is the next best move? The next thing, not sort of next year, but what is with what we're dealing with right now? It's a change in plan. What is our best next move?
I love that. And just, if you're still unclear, London is now having the opportunity to play with a great team in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
At an expedited rate than we imagine, right?
Right.
And I want to ask you this. You know, I always love getting tips from you.
Mm-hmm.
In the scope of this to what we discussed today, what are a couple tips for parents that may be presented with opportunities like this to be ready and to be able to get to a decision to see about what is a great move or the next step?
Right. I think the first thing, you've heard me say it before, start at the end. Think about the goal.
Yeah.
I think that even as you start this whole process, like with us, with Project Further Everything, you start with, what is the goal? What are we hoping to accomplish here for our child? What is our child hoping to accomplish? So always refer back to that. And once again, we've talked about in a previous episode, even though sometimes the path to that goal can change and you have to pivot, et cetera, if you keep that goal in mind, then even when you pivot towards the goal. Okay?
Yep.
So first of all, what is the goal? The goal is to give London the opportunity to play at the highest level. College, beyond, she needs to be in a bigger market. Okay? So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we got to get her there to a bigger market so she can get seen, so she can develop even faster than she's developing now. So we always knew that's probably something that ultimately is going to happen. What's changed? Well, the timeline's changed. Okay, but that's where we want to go. So start at the end. Where do you want to go? Now, the second thing is take inventory of your family, real inventory. Not just on how you feel, but what can you do? What is
handle.
feasible? What can you handle? What can you do? We happen to be one of the things where it was even an option to think about doing something in that market in the future. Our family is fortunate that we could even consider that even in the future. My husband is retired. I work for myself. My oldest daughter is a junior in high school. She's going to be graduated soon. She's fairly independent, right?
Yeah.
This is something that London has been working for. So those things made it feasible, even if my idea was a year or two from now.
Yeah. The ducks align.
Right. So you have to take inventory of your family. What is really feasible? Because if there's no way to move to Dallas now, then that's off the table. So then what do you say? Okay, well, we can't do that now, but let's figure out a way to take these opportunities that are being presented now, and maybe we can craft something for a year from now. Yeah. So let's start having that discussion with the coaches, with the people who have reached out. Maybe we can't move to Dallas, but let's say this team that has reached out to us, they really want her. Find out if she can be a discovery player. That was the initial discussion when these teams were reaching out, because we're like, oh, we're not ready to move now. Like, we're not,
we'll do a week.
Can we do discovery?
Yeah.
And then those teams came back and they said, well, yeah, you could do that. Now, a couple of them were like, well, we want her to be, we want her to be, this to be her primary team. And then when she's free, when we don't have something scheduled, then she can play for the team in Baton Rouge. Because we weren't going to let go of the team in Baton Rouge because we weren't going to move. Okay.
And we talked about that in previous episodes.
Right. Yeah. So we were like, okay, well, so that was the initial thing. So that's the other thing. Take an inventory of where you are as a family. What can you do now? And if you can't do it now, don't just get rid of all the opportunities. There's still opportunities. Figure out what you can do now and then present that. When you I'm really big on when you're going to somebody and you're either asking for something or you're making a request, you need to come with a proposal, right? Don't just, and I'm like this with my kids, don't just come to me and ask me if I can do something for you, you need to come with a proposal. You need to say, well, Mom, can you do this? And in exchange, I can do that. So if you're going back to a team and you're saying, or a coach, and you're saying, well, no, we can't come to Dallas. You want to also say, but we can do this.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to taking inventory of your family. What can your family do now with the goals of eventually advancing that and maybe moving to Dallas? Or maybe if your child is over, maybe they move to Dallas. I don't know, right? So that's the other tip. So do that.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think some of the things too that, because I feel like your second tip was really like 2 or 3 and
Yeah,
one. But I will say this, because sometimes decisions that we make may end up being the wrong one.
For the moment.
For the moment.
Right.
But I like how you said pretty much don't burn bridges.
Right.
Like communicate. Let everyone know what's going on with a proposal. Hey, we're thinking about moving over here. We'll be primarily playing here, but we will still love to keep in some type of contact. Because if I'm not mistaken, London still goes back to Baton Rouge to play.
When she can, yeah.
And she can. Instead of you leaving like, oh, we done with y'all. We going to the big, like, we moving up. And,
Right, because we had made the commitment. We had told them
Yes.
she's a starter on that team.
So maybe that's your third tip, is to
maybe
make sure you don't damage
Right.
relationships
Absolutely.
in the process of going further.
Exactly, and we talked about that on on one of the other episodes as well.
Yeah.
Is, it's a small community. It doesn't seem like it is, but it's a small community, and you want to give everyone their due respect.
Yeah.
Even though the plan is for her to play in a bigger market, that's objective information. Nobody's going to refute that the soccer community in Dallas, Texas is more developed and a little stronger than it is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's objective information. It's not how I feel. It's just, it is what it is, But giving people their due respect and their credit for what they have done. London would not have had those opportunities had she not been with the team in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Had she not had the opportunity to play there. And also teaching your children that. I think it's important. One of the things I do love about my kids, and I'm not just saying it because it's my kids, but my kids are humble. My kids are appreciative. They don't feel like anything that they're accomplishing is strictly due to just them.
Yeah.
They acknowledge the importance of having a tribe and a community and a supportive environment to do what they do. So when it comes to the coaches, the teams, one of the first things that we did, and kind of going back to what you're saying, is we took an inventory of, okay, well, what does this look like for that team as well? And we had a discussion with that team.
Yeah.
And we said, listen, this is the opportunity that has presented itself. And we call the coaches first. We didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell any parents. I talked to you about it. I talked to my mom about it, my best friend about it. Obviously, my husband and I had a dialogue about it.
Of course.
And we said, okay, can we do this? And after some of our discussions, we were like, well, why not? Why would we not if we can? Besides the fact that I'm going to miss seeing my baby every day, okay? But she wants it. And she was very specific when she said, I want it, and I want to do it this season. And then we said, well, and this is from one of my good friends too, whose daughter has sort of a similar path, and she's in Florida, and they've kind of gone all over the place. And she just said, that opportunity may not be there next year.
Yeah.
Something could happen, anything could happen. You have to seize opportunities when they come. And so all of that led us to the decision to allow London to play in Dallas. Okay.
And that's where we're going to end today. Yes, this podcast. So the announcement is that she is now in Dallas.
She is playing for an ECNL team in Dallas. In Dallas, Texas. Yes, she is.
And once again, Project Further is literally a open book resource for you to help your daughter or young lady who has soccer aspirations to go play at the highest levels if that's what they decide. But it is not a just easy cakewalk. Nope. There are steps that we have here that we want you guys to implement and to give us feedback. Mm-hmm. Some of you may try some of the things you hear and learn something that we did not hear. This is why the community matters. We want to make sure that everybody is sharing their experiences. Comment below. Let us know how and where you are. Maybe there's something that you need help with or you want us to discuss that we would love to talk about. And Doc, I think this is where you take us out from another great episode.
Another great episode. Lots of good conversation. So it's always fun. And like we always say, keep striving, keep pushing, but always further. Till next time.
Further.